So today with the first lesson of the Git and GitHubs, we start with the topics, concept, environment setup, life cycle, platform. In the concepts, we will be learning about the VCS, the advantage of Git, VCS, the basic terminologies we will be using during the course of this course, understanding the basic workflow. Then we will in the environmental setup, we will go for the installation, how different settings can be set up, life cycle, then the general workflow will be understood, how we commit, how the push operation is working. Then we will go for the Linux, the platforms such as the Linux and the Windows, how are the different platforms the Git has been supporting. So we start with the first topic, that is the VCS, version control system. Basically, what is a Git? First we should understand what the Git is. Git is an open source software for managing and maintaining the versions for the different applications. So we can say that version control system is been implemented using the Git. Basically what the version control is, VCS is a software that helps the developer and the team to maintain the software development, the history, and maintain the rhythm between each other. The VCS allows the developers to work simultaneously. Simultaneously here refers to that the teams are at different location. They are working on the same project, but they can work on the same project by using the Git. It does it does not allow the overwriting of each other's changes. That means the changes that the others do will be different, and we can maintain the history of each and every version. So we can say that the VCS which we are learning will maintain, in short, the history of every version. Number second, it allows the developers to work simultaneously. Third, it does not allow to overwrite each other's changes. And when the history is being maintained, we can have the different versions in the release. So we can say that the VCS can be of two types. Number first, centralized. Number second, distributed. Centralized means that the everything is under the control of a central system or a central server. It means all the developers who are working will submit everything to the central server. So it will create a load. If that central server fails, it whole the versions are being vanished, and it is a drawback of the centralized version control system. Whereas in the DVCS, centralized or decentralized or decentralized version control system, every client has their own snapshot, and when finally we are submitting, we will submit at one repository, and then we can push back to the central server. That means there is a full backup of each and every repository at the client side also. Whenever if something fails, we can take from another client who has the full version. So the Git comes under the distributed version of the control system. What are the different advantages? Why we should use the Git? Number first, it is free and open source. Free means the Git is free of cost. We do not have to pay any penny for getting the Git software. It is also open source, license based. It means it is in which we will get the source code also. We can also take the Git source code and modify it according to our need. Second advantage is it is small and fast. Small and fast here refers to that the application is very little and it requires a less number of the space. And when we download it from the Git website, it is very less in size and fast. Why? Because the core of the Git has been written in C, and every operation which we do in the Git will not do not need to interact with any central server. First we will do all the operations in the local system, then at the final stage we will commit everything. So it will be a compression, then putting all the client side code into the server. Third is the implied backup. Implied backup here refers to the rate at which the multiple copies are. That means we do not have any uh, fear that the multiple copies will be lost, because we have the local repository which has been mirrored to the all the clients. If something corrupts, we can take the backup from the different clients. Next is the security. Security in the Git, they use a hash function named as SHA1, which checks for the data before checkout. So it is very secure. No need for the powerful hardware here, because in the central system, in the central version control system, we maintain everything in a central server. If today we have 10 users who are working, it is very fine. But if the developers increases to 100, then the hardware requirement for the central versioning system will require more. But in a distributed one, we have the client copies, we commit at the end, so we require less hardware power because everything is on the client. Easier branching. Branching word here refers to the multiple versioning we are maintaining at the client, and in the CVC we is a complicated and time consuming, because the branching is very simple in the Git. We can create any branch at any time. It does not require more of the resources. We can delete, we can merge the two branches when we are in need of release. Next, we go for the terminologies that we will be learning, going through, and we will be using them during the course of this during this course. Now, the first terminology is local repository. The word local repository is the same as the name suggests, means the working copy at which we one developer is working, or we can say a private workspace where we do renaming, we remove the file, we move the file, we commit the changes, we perform all the operations at our local system. Then the next word comes as the working directory. The working directory is the place or the current folder in which we are working. We can say the Git looks for the working directory only for the terms and for the files that we are working in. The working directory is the place where all our files are being uh, present. Okay. So in this we will also be learning about the workflow in the next slide. The next term is blog. Blog here refers to the binary large object. Every version of the file represented by blog. That means the file does not contain any metadata. The Git database maintains the relationship and the addresses of every content. The next term is trees. Trees means the same as the architecture we have learned during our computer data structures. The tree is an object that represents the directory or the blobs and the other directories. The next is the commit. Commit means we are working on a current folder, okay, and we are doing something. It has everything in our file, but to submit that to a final version, we use a word commit, which will transfer this working file to the tree structure using the SHA1 hash, and it commits to the tree to be for the branch, or we can say to the Git. Then we have the branches. Branches means creating another line of the development. Say for an example, today I have developed a factorial function like factorial.c, and one more developer comes and he says, sir, you have used this factorial function with recursion, but we can have also have another thing, we can use the loops. So the branch can be from the factorial. The main trunk will be the factorial only, but a new branch had came. And if we want to merge both of them, we will use the merge and then we will release. The next comes the tags. The tags are the meaningful names for a specific version. like we do in the mobile application. We have the different versions of the operating systems. They have their own names. These are the repositories. There are different names so that we can identify the different versions. Then we have the clone word. The clone word here refers to the instance of the repository. The central repository has one instance and we are doing an operation to check in. We clone that in our working copy. Then we do all the operations over there. Then the next word will come pull. Pull means we have done some changes in our local repository and now we are uh, taking the copy of the remote repository in our system so that we can do some more changes, and then we will finally submit with the use of the word push. Push means pushing everything to the Git repository or committing the subversions. Then we have the word head. Head here refers to the pointer, which always points to the latest commit in the branch. Then we have the word revision. Revision means we have the source code of the version. We have done some changes and represent by the commit. Then this is called the revision. It means the version of the source code has some changes and we have committed. Next we have the URL. URL means representing the Git repository. These all are the basic terminologies that we'll be going through during this course. We will repeat them: local repository, working directory, local repository, the local system copy, working directory where we are working, blog, binary log file, tree, the hierarchy or the architecture of the blogs and the different files, commit, submitting the things to the tree, branches, creating a separate branch from a main trunk, tags, giving the name to the versions, clone, taking the repository from the remote to the local system, pull, pushing the things from here to the global one, head represents to the current, revision, doing some changes, version, the represents the current location of the Git repository. Here are the steps to install the Git on your system. Today, when we have done, the installation on 18th February, the latest version is 2.432 on the git.scm.com. So first we have to go to git.scm.com, which is looking like this screenshot being present over here. We can see that the Git is also available for Mac, Windows, Linux, and for different operating system. To install on the Linux, we have the two mechanism. Number first is called the apt get command. The command is which is basically used for CentOS, sudo apt get install git core, or we can use the yum command, yum y install git core. To check the latest version, to check what version is been installed, we can use the command git-version or git-v. We can use that over here also. I will give you the look how this is working. This is my terminal in which I am using the command. Again I have to go, yes, git-v. So the latest version installed at my system is 2.442.0. So this is the latest version. The next is the workflow. This workflow represents how we are working. So first we create a directory in our system. In this directory we will be working over here, and in this directory we will be working. Then we will add to the staging area. That means we have added the file to the staging area. That means it is ready now. It is ready now in the our Git local repository. Then we will perform a Git commit operation which will push all the changes permanently to the Git repository. Now we have some customizations also available that we can do in our Git environment. Basically, the configuration of that Git stores is in the .git config file, which is in the Linux. It has been in the /etc/git config file. So to add the global option, we can use --global option. How to set the username? The first thing is how to set the username. We will be using git config hyphen global user.name and the name of the user. We will do like this. See, in this we have done like this: git config hyphen global user dot name space my name Peeyush Pareek. So the name has been set. Now we can set the email ID also. Git config hyphen global user dot email space double quotes my mail ID mail Peeyush Pareek @gmail.com and double quotes closed. Enter. It will add the email to the system. Now it's too long. Now pulling all the Git information to the Git config is git config hyphen global branch auto setup base always. So it will store the information over there. We can customize the colors also like this. Okay, git config hyphen global color dot ui space true. It will change the color. This is how we can also set the status. Then we can set the branch. The default editor can also be set. Git config global core dot editor vim. Getting the settings from the default merge tool. Git config global merge tool imdef. How to list that what all the settings we have set? See, git config hyphen list. So whatever we have changed, this is the changes the system has done. Clear? Okay. Now we close this and we will move to the next one. This is the life cycle. This is the life cycle that been followed at the Git. So you can first we have this repository online. Okay, we clone this repository on our working copy. It means we are creating a clone of this repository at our working copy. This is the client side where we are working. Here we do edit, add, move, modifications. But slightly there is some change in the repository. No worries. We will update from the global repository and modify our working copy. Now everything is ready. Okay. Now we will compare the status and the difference of the operations. Yes, we have found something. Okay, these are the different changes. We review the changes. Okay, now we have done everything. We are ready with what we want to change in our copy. Okay, now we will commit and push the operation. That means first we will commit, it will be added to our local Git repository, then we commit and push this changes to the online repository. This will be committed over here with the push operation. Okay. Now, suddenly we found that we have made some mistakes. We have to fix the mistakes. We will change in our local repository. Then we will fix the operation again by a push operation. So this is a small life cycle of a Git. Again, some new developer come and he says that I want to work on that some project. Don't worry, clone from the local from the repository to your working copy. Do the changes, review the changes, commit, have some mistakes, again push with the new version. So this is all about the life cycle. Now we move about the platforms that the Git supports. The platforms that Git supports are Windows, Mac, and Linux. In the screenshot also we can see that the latest version, which has been released on 2024 February 13th, was 2.43.2. This was for the Mac. It also supports for the Mac GUI, Windows, and Linux. There are other. We can also take the source code also of this Git. So till now we have learned about the concept, environment setup, life cycle, and platform. Thank you everyone. I think the session was useful for you.